Ever notice feeling extra irritable, impatient, or agitated when you're very hot? Anger and criticism are hot emotions that originate in an overheated mind. Physical symptoms such as heartburn, migraines, inflamed joints, and sensitive skin are all signs of excess heat in the body. Do you experience any of this during summer? Perhaps you deal with it all year long. In this episode, we're covering 5 practices from the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda to balance out Pitta and beat the heat. What is up, my witches? Welcome to the Queer Soul Alchemy Podcast, a supportive community helping queer folks to embrace their authentic selves by exploring yoga, astrology, and spirituality. I'm your host, Lee Davey. What is up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm your host and favorite queer ND priestess, Lee Davey, a 500-hour certified yoga instructor, 600-hour certified Ayurvedic health counselor, and 100% certifiable self-development nerd. And in this episode, we're going back to our Ayurveda roots. I'll be sharing my top 5 tips to beat the summer heat and keep yourself healthy, calm, and cool for the rest of Pitta season. As someone who's had my fair share of health and digestive issues, yoga's sister science Ayurveda has helped me out so much. And in this episode, you'll discover 5 Ayurvedic practices that are gentle, effective, and can be done on your own at home with just a few affordable ingredients. But first, new episodes of this podcast drop every Wednesday, posted on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Make an offering to the algorithm overlords and help other queer spiritual seekers find this magic by leaving a like, a comment, and a nice little 5-star review. And if you're currently listening on Apple Podcasts, please make sure you're subscribed because according to the podcast analytics, almost half of y'all listen on Apple Podcasts, but that's actually the platform where we have the least subscribers. So double check. You may think that you're following the show when you're actually not, but doing so is one of the best free ways that you can support the podcast. So friends on Apple Pods, double check that you are subscribed, subscribe everywhere else, and don't miss out on exclusive access to my free self-care resource guide, which I've specifically curated for you to support your journey with spirituality. To download this guide and be the first to know about upcoming queer yoga retreats and events, please sign up for our email newsletter at yourloved.one/pod. All right, you guys, let's get into today's Ayurveda tips to stay feeling balanced and cool for the rest of summer. If you're like me, you might sometimes notice feeling extra irritable, impatient, or agitated when you're very hot. Anger and criticism are hot emotions, right? We can feel that in our bodies, and they originate from an overheated mind. And then physical symptoms such as heartburn, acid reflux, certain types of migraines, inflamed joints, and sensitive skin are all signs of excess heat, what Ayurveda calls a pitta imbalance in the body. So do you experience any of these more often during the summer or when you're in a hot climate? Or perhaps you deal with symptoms like this all year long, no matter what it's like outside. In Ayurveda, summer is known as the Pitta time of year because the Ayurvedic mind-body type, known as Pitta Dosha, is made up of the elements of fire and water. Translating to the science of life, Ayurveda is an ancient science that originated in India alongside yoga and has been practiced there for thousands of years. Ayurveda is a philosophy that works with the rhythms of nature to help balance our digestion, sleep, and energy levels and support a higher quality of life, health, and vitality among practitioners. This holistic and preventative approach to healthcare can greatly support overall health and complement any Western medical care that a person may already be receiving. As an Ayurvedic health counselor, I provide practical yet powerful healthy lifestyle coaching and work with my clients one-on-one, online and in person, to incorporate sustainable recommendations into their routines that promote balance and wellness within each client's unique mind-body constitution, or dosha. Ayurveda is a holistic approach to health and wellness, meaning that it considers all the layers of human experience. So physical, energetic, mental, emotional, spiritual. And this is the key difference to Western medicine, which tends to break down each of these into specialization, right? For example, an oncologist would specialize in cancer, but a cardiologist would specialize in the heart, a dermatologist in the skin, a psychologist in the mind, and so forth. But Ayurveda doesn't see all of these different parts as separate. It considers the holistic picture. One way that Ayurveda does break things down into categories is through the doshas, or the Ayurvedic mind-body types. These 3 doshas are made up of the 5 universal elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So one dosha is made up of the earth and water elements, and another dosha is made up of the air and ether elements. But today we're talking about Pitta Dosha, which is made up of the fire and water elements. Because summer tends to be very hot and humid, Pitta energy can increase so much in our minds and bodies that it completely goes out of balance. And this is what causes all of the uncomfortable symptoms like the ones that I just listed, especially toward the second half of summer, because the Pitta energy has been consistently building up over the last month and a half or so that by the time we reach late July and fully into August, at least in Ohio, people seem to be real burned out on the heat by then. And real relief doesn't come until October or so when the weather starts getting cold again. So we're in Pitta time of year, that specific Pitta time of year where that heat energy has really kind of built up. So that's why I put out this episode for you guys now so that we can help balance ourselves out because we have at least another month to go, right? So the qualities of Pitta Dosha include anything that is hot, sharp, light, oily, spreading, or penetrating. So think of like a sauna, summer heat, summer sun and sweat, going to the pool, and summer humidity can increase all of these pitta qualities, right? And again, once we increase pitta to the point that it becomes imbalanced, that's where the uncomfortable symptoms start to show up. So an overheated mind, that is a mind with a pitta imbalance, tends to produce hot emotions such as anger, frustration, criticism, judgment, and impatience. And then excess heat in the body, that is a pitta imbalance in the body, produces hot physical symptoms like heartburn, acid reflux, certain types of migraines, inflamed joints, and sensitive skin, also burning and digestion. And some of us just naturally have more fire, more Pitta Dosha in our minds and bodies than others. So those of us with more Pitta Dosha naturally in our constitution are going to be more naturally prone to those symptoms of Pitta and that Pitta energy going out of balance. So again, since this time of year is the Pitta season, and especially the time where that Pitta energy has been accumulating, whether or not you have a lot of Pitta energy, you're going to be more likely to experience some of these symptoms. But especially if you do have some of that Pitta energy, you're going to be very likely to experience some of these symptoms, especially around this time of year. So it's just the time of the year when Pitta is most likely to go out of balance for anyone and cause symptoms. However, when Pitta Dosha is in balance and healthy, it makes a person ambitious, a strong leader, passionate, organized, motivated, and enthusiastic about life. So we always want to try to keep all three doshas or all five elements in a healthy balance. And what that healthy balance looks like is going to change slightly depending on the person, the time of the year, the time of the person's life, even the time of day. If you're new to Ayurveda, I understand that this can all sound really confusing and overwhelming at first, but once you start to learn the principles, it does become a lot more intuitive. So stick with me, you guys. We got through the philosophy portion. Now we just get to talk about the fun stuff. So without further ado, here are my top 5 summer Ayurveda tips to balance Pitta Dosha and beat the heat. Tip number 1 is Abhyanga, or self-oil massage, specifically with a cooling oil such as coconut or sweet almond oil or some type of blend. If you wanted to add essential oils, sandalwood or rose essential oils are really nice for balancing out excess pitta heat in the body. Not going to take the time to explain a lot of how to do Abhyanga or what Abhyanga even is in this episode because I actually have a whole episode dedicated to Abhyanga, what it is, the benefits, and how to practice it. So I will link that in the top of the video if you're watching on YouTube and in the show notes everywhere. So you can go find that Abhyanga episode, find out all about the benefits of doing this self-oil massage. It's a really, really lovely, powerful self-care practice. There is a specific way to do it. And so that's why it has its own whole dedicated episode. If you prefer to read, I do also have a blog post that I'll link for you guys that's on the website, and that guides you through the practice step by step as well. So y'all know me, Abhyanga is probably my number 1 Ayurveda tip. Like, I love Abhyanga. I absolutely swear by this practice, especially if you deal with anxiety, insomnia, just feeling like chronically overwhelmed, chronically kind of ungrounded and scattered. Abhyanga works wonders. And warning, it will put you to sleep. So maybe do it at a time when you're prepared to fall asleep afterward. I sleep like a baby after Abhyanga. And then the type of oil that you use also is specific depending on the type of year and depending on the quality of the oil itself, which I'll talk about in just a minute. So I'm not going to go into detail again. The details are in that other episode, but for this time of year, I would definitely recommend that coconut oil or sweet almond oil because those are considered to be more cooling or at least neutral oils. And just to say, if you are super high pitta, this practice may not be for you right now just because pitta already has that kind of oily quality to it. So if you're feeling kind of gunked up and kind of oily, for lack of a better framing, you may want to skip this number one and just do some of the other tips instead. Or if you have a lot of like toxins and you don't have the ability to do like a full on proper cleanse right now, doing Abhyanga may be contraindicated for somebody that has like a lot of toxins, a lot of like pain or just stagnancy in the body. So with everything in Ayurveda, it definitely depends. And when in doubt, always consult your medical health professionals, you guys. But all of these practices at the same time are considered very gentle and generally safe for everyone. So use your discernment. None of this is gonna like do any serious harm for you. But if you feel intuitively like one of these practices may not be for you right now, then please follow your intuition on that, okay? Okay, tip number 2 is to keep your digestion cool and balanced with specific herbs and spices. So in Ayurveda, everything starts with digestion. They say you are what you eat. And in Ayurveda, that definitely holds true because proper, healthy digestion is the solid foundation for all of our health and for all of our body and our mind, right? Digestion really can affect our minds too. Think back to a time when you were constipated or had the opposite issue. Think back to a time when you had like burning indigestion or food was just going right through you, right? It probably really affected how your mind was feeling at that same time. So even if it's not something really extreme like that, even minor digestive disturbances in Ayurveda can be said to also really affect our mental state. So Ayurveda assigns every food, spice, and herb with a specific digestive effect, and certain foods will have a cooling effect, while other foods will have a more heating effect. So we can think about heating foods might sometimes be obvious, right? Like spicy foods, onion, garlic. So then let's just intuitively think about foods that might be more cooling. Now, there are lists that you can find online for this. If you just Google cooling foods in Ayurveda or summer foods list in Ayurveda, I can even put one on the screen right here for you guys that I got from one of my teachers. And not every list is going to be exactly the same, just like any discipline or practice or body of knowledge, there's going to be some dissent and some conflicting opinions among practitioners, right? So again, the key here is to tune into your own inner wisdom, your body's discernment, and your intuition. And over time with practicing Ayurveda, you can be more sensitive to your body and it will tell you more of like what it needs. So some specific herbs you can use to keep your digestion cool and balance out pitta are mint, dill, cilantro, rose, and hibiscus. And some specific spices are coriander, fennel, and cardamom. So like I said, Ayurveda assigns every food, herb, and spice with a cooling, heating, or a neutral effect. All of those herbs and spices that I just named have a more cooling or neutralizing effect. And you can use these to season your food or make drinks and teas, or you can also use them in a variety of self-care products and toiletries, whether you buy them pre-made or make them yourself. Tip number 3 is rose water, rose water, rose water. Spritz it on your face, spritz it in your car, spritz it in your house, add it to lotions, add it to your homemade sugar scrub. I absolutely swear by rose water as a cooling and just all natural toner. I have very sensitive pitta skin. If you have a lot of the fire element in your body, you might notice that you too have very sensitive skin, or it might become kind of rashy easily or red, or you might be prone to acne. And rose water is absolutely amazing to help with all of that. It was one ingredient, super sweet and natural facial toner, very uplifting, very refreshing. I use it all year round. I swear by it. I've been using it for years and I can't go without it. So if you've never tried rose water before, now's a great time of year to just give it a try, see if you like it. And rose is also known to have heart opening properties, which is very nice for Pitta energy too, because Pitta needs to open the heart. Tip number 4 is legs up the wall or legs on a chair, baby. So it sounds pretty much just like what it is. You can lay flat on your back or maybe on your bed. If your bed's next to a wall, you could even do this on the floor next to a couch. Just get on your back and then get your hips close to whatever you're putting your legs up onto. So close to the wall or your chair or the couch, and then use whatever you're using to prop your legs up. You can literally have your legs up the wall. You can have your knees bent so that your feet are on the wall and your legs are making like a 90-degree angle. Or if you have your chair or the couch, then you can just rest your legs on the chair or the couch with your knees bent. Bend your knees, you guys. I don't want to see any locked out knee joints. Please be kind to your knees. All right, so get your booty close to whatever you're putting your legs up on. And then put your legs up. You can also use a yoga block, blanket, or a yoga bolster underneath your hips to add a little bit more cushion. And that also makes it a little bit less core work. And then another nice option is to roll up a blanket and you can just make a little neck pillow for yourself. So get really comfortable in this position. It's called legs up the wall, but the Sanskrit is Viparita Karani Mudra, which means reverse posture seal. So it's a very gentle, basic inversion, generally safe for everyone to try. You'll want to get comfortable to where you can just fully allow yourself to relax and then just breathe gently in and out through your nose in this position for like 5, 10, you could do up to 15 minutes. And this gentle inversion, which inversion in yoga is just any pose where we have our hips a little bit higher than our heart or our head below our heart. And this specific gentle inversion really helps to expel any excess heat from the body. And all inversions are very calming to the nervous system, which is also really nice when we're feeling a little bit like amped up and agitated. When I used to work as a barista and a server for about a decade before I got to do QSA full time, I would come home from my shifts and do this after work pretty much every day just to drain my legs. Like it felt so good. And like I said, this practice is generally safe for everyone, but there are a couple contraindications. So if you have uncontrolled high blood pressure, glaucoma, or any heart or eye conditions where you do not want pressure on your eyes or on your neck or your head in any way, you will definitely want to consult your medical health professionals, your medical health care team before doing this practice. And there are many different modifications. So you may just need to take a specific modification depending on your situation, but better safe than sorry. And you can always ask a yoga teacher in person too. And last but not least, tip number 5 is our watermelon slushy, aka nature's Gatorade. Woo, you guys. This should be number 1 because it's my favorite. But I've saved the best for last, okay? You're welcome. So to make your watermelon slushy, you will need a fresh, ripe, cold watermelon, some lime juice, honey, which is optional, and then mint, which is also optional. You could do fresh mint leaves or mint extract. And then once you have all of your chosen ingredients, you'll simply blend the ingredients together and you can adjust amounts to suit your taste preference. You guys, I drink this throughout the summer. I look forward to watermelon season every year because watermelon's one of my favorite fruits, but this drink is just something that I really look forward to throughout the year, every year, and it keeps me so hydrated and it tastes delicious. So pro tips on how to make this the most delicious that I could possibly be. You're going to want to choose a sweet watermelon. It's very important. The sweeter watermelons are going to be more round. Those are the female watermelons versus the male watermelons that are slightly more oblong. So if you want a sweeter melon, go for the round ones. The oblong male ones are a little bit less sweet and more on the juicier side. So for a sweet melon, go for the round, and then you're going to want to be able to pick it up. And if you hold it by your ear and knock on the melon, it should sound like it's hollow inside. And that's how you know it's nice and ripe. And then the third main thing you want to look out for is there wants to be a big yellowy orangey spot on the outside, on the rind. So if you look on the outside rind and it's like all green, that's an unripe melon. That's not going to be very sweet. If you look and there's like a small whitish spot or maybe like a brownish spot, also not going to be very sweet. The ripe spot, That's the ground spot where the watermelon sits on the ground in the field. When it's ripe, it's going to be yellowy, almost orangey, fairly big, like take up most of one side of the watermelon. And that's how you know it's a sweet, ripe, delicious, ready to go watermelon. If you plan to drink your watermelon slushy right away, you can just put the whole watermelon right into your refrigerator and get the watermelon nice and cold before you blend it so that when you drink it, it'll just already be nice and cold. Another pro tip, you can strain the mixture to remove any pulp. And that does take a little bit of patience, not going to lie, but it's worth it, you guys, because you'll have the most delicious watermelon juice left over. And because this mixture tastes best cold, you can put the watermelon mixture into little ice cube molds and then freeze it. A few weekends ago, my friend and I went out berry picking in the hot sun around noon, and I brought some of this watermelon slushy with us in a jar, and I had put the mixture over some watermelon slushy ice cubes that I had previously made and just popped the whole thing into a cooler, and we had fresh, cold watermelon juice to enjoy throughout the day. It kept us so nice and hydrated, and it was really needed because that was during one of the recent heat waves that we've had here in Ohio. Fun fact, watermelon contains lycopene, which is an antioxidant that may help protect skin from both sun damage and prevent sunburns. And I can personally attest that this works, you guys. There have been times in previous summers where I've tested it out by having sunscreen, but one day I'll not have watermelon, and the next time I'll still wear sunscreen, but have watermelon. And the times when I didn't have the watermelon are the times when I got burned, even though I was wearing sunscreen. So still wear your sunscreen regardless, please. Like, this is not a replacement for sunscreen, you guys, but I can personally attest that it does help prevent sunburns. And I call this nature's Gatorade because the lime juice, the sugar from the watermelon, and then of course the water, it really helps create a natural electrolyte drink that helps our body stay super nice and hydrated. And what a miracle, right? That watermelon is given to us by the earth during the hottest time of the year. Like, nature really provides so much and is so abundant, and nature just gives us medicine. Like, food is our medicine, and that medicine is just available all around us, right? It doesn't have to be this like obscure thing. Like, our food, our spices, our herbs, everything that we take in with our minds and our bodies on a daily basis, that can be our medicine. And that's really what Ayurveda teaches. And that's why Ayurveda is so beautiful and also witchy as heck. Kitchen witchin', y'all. So those are the 5 summer Ayurveda tips. Which one do you think you'll try? What are you most excited about? Share it with us in the comments. To summarize, in this episode, we covered my top 5 tips to beat the summer heat and keep yourself healthy, calm, and cool during Pitta season. We learned a bit about Ayurveda, including the 3 doshas, which are made up of the 5 elements, and how these doshas change with the seasons. Then we broke down 5 simple Ayurvedic practices to remove excess heat from your body and mind. Abhyanga, or the practice of massaging yourself with oils such as coconut, cooking with specific cooling herbs and spices, spritzing yourself with rose water, practicing legs up the wall pose, and making watermelon slushies, aka nature's Gatorade. I hope you'll enjoy these tips that are gentle, effective, and can be done on your own at home with just a few affordable ingredients. Please let me know if you try them and which one is your favorite. Don't forget to download your free self-care resource guide by signing up for our email newsletter on the QSA website at youareloved.one/pod. If you enjoyed this episode and are interested in diving deeper into Ayurveda, there's a full in-depth 2-hour workshop on Ayurveda fundamentals in our online community platform. This workshop is an amazing starting point for anyone who's interested in learning more about this ancient science and how it might improve your quality of life as well. And I actually give this workshop to my private Ayurveda clients as a prerequisite for our work together because it's just such a good foundational starting point. So you could buy that workshop on its own for $33 on our website, or just saying, you could join our online community platform for just $11 per month to access that workshop plus 5 additional full-length workshops. That's right, you guys. As part of our nonprofit mission, we really want to make all of this content available to you for a super affordable price. That's over 10 hours of exclusive workshops on Ayurveda, astrology, yoga philosophy, and more. the opportunity to meet like-minded queer folks who are also on a spiritual journey in our online platform, and new exclusive yoga practice videos and guided meditations are also uploaded twice per month. So if that sounds interesting, the link to join will be in the show notes for you guys as always. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, let's stay connected and stay witchy. I'll talk to you soon, and blessed be. With all my love, Lee Davy.